Hey everyone! So one of the most common questions that the SFS voice actors get is how to get started with voiceover. There are lots of different aspects to cover with this question, like how to learn your range, how to put together a demo reel, how to find work, etc. But today I, along with fellow voice actor Spencer Moran,
Heyo.
want to focus on something specific and extremely important to a voice actor just starting out: how to set up a studio for yourself on a budget. Now, when I say studio, I don't mean a fancy private booth with a $1,000 microphone and all the bells and whistles said microphone would need in order to work as designed. This is about your first step, and no first step into any hobby or career should put you that far down in debt. You need to start out small so you don't bury yourself in equipment you might not even use if you decide voiceover isn't the best option for you. And you may well decide that. A lot of people turn away from voice work after discovering the flood of rejection involved, or that it's not always voicing fun projects like animation or video games. So here's a helpful guide on how to get started with a setup that can land you jobs without totally emptying your wallet. We're going to focus on two important aspects that, when added together, can provide a great sound for your first recording area: basic microphone equipment and proper space treatment. And just a note of clarification, we are not being sponsored by any of the companies that make any equipment we plan to recommend. This is just what we've learned from personal experience. The most basic equipment that you need to get started, asides material to treat your space, we'll get to that later, are as follows: a decent microphone, a pop filter, and recording software. That's it. You may prefer to record standing up, like me, so a floor stand would also be necessary there. But most microphones come with little stands for your desk if you prefer to sit down. A decent microphone is the most important piece, and the type of microphone you need will depend on your voice. Some microphones do better with higher, bright voices, others with lower, dark voices. But no matter what, I can say this: do not get a headset as your first microphone. Don't do it. I started out with a gaming headset when I was 16, and there is a reason they are called gaming headsets and not microphones. I see beginners make this mistake all the time. Do not include yourself in that collective. There are two types of microphones you can look at: USB, which plug directly into your computer, and XLR, which require an audio interface as an in-between to communicate from mic to computer. You'll see most all pros recommend XLR microphones over USB, as the audio interfaces they use give you more control over the sound and the quality is generally better. But they're also generally much pricier, especially when you add in the price of the interface. So to start out, a USB microphone is fine. It's fine. Don't let someone tell you it isn't. I'm recording on a USB microphone right now, and I've gotten professional commercial and video game jobs using this mic, because the space around it is treated for recording. If you're just starting out and you really aren't sure if voice acting is for you, start with a USB microphone. I've had personal experience with 3 kinds, and I can tell you all about it. The first I had was the Blue Snowball. This was my very first microphone after the gaming headset, and while it worked well for what it was, it did break very easily. One trip over the cord was enough to kill it, so I wouldn't probably recommend that one. The second mic I got was the Samson CO1U. I'd recommend this over the Snowball any day. It had a really good quality sound for the price it was, and it was relatively easy to transport and use. Now the third one I have is the Blue Yeti. This is the microphone I'm using right now, and while it has the best sound quality of the 3, the price is a bit much for someone new to voiceover. I was lucky enough to receive this microphone as a birthday present from a friend. If I hadn't, I probably would have stuck to my CO1U for a while longer until it was time to upgrade into an XLR and an audio interface. It's up to you which microphone to purchase, but of the 3 USBs, the CO1U has the best value for the price. If you want to splurge and get an XLR, I've heard really good things about Audio-Technica XLR microphones for their ability to handle a variety of vocal timbres, from bright to dark. Remember, with an XLR microphone, you will need an audio interface to go along with it. One like the Focusrite Scarlett 214 averages about $200 from what I've seen. No matter which you decide to buy, you'll need to get a pop filter. No microphone has the power to erase the awful pops you'll get in your recording without one, so it's a must get. If you're really struggling to stay on budget after the microphone choice, you can put one together with pantyhose and wire. Form the wire into a hoop and stretch the pantyhose right over it. The pop filter I bought was about $8 though, so there's really not much difference in the end. Other optional equipment is a mic stand if you want to record standing up, which I personally recommend anyway because of breath control, a sound shield, and a shock mount. But these aren't necessary, and you should take the time to understand your recording style before you put the money into those accessories. If you're going to pick some though, I would go for a mic stand and a sound shield. The sound shield in particular has helped my recordings sound much better. But remember, this is about saving money until you know that voice acting is really what you want to do. As for recording software, you can purchase and use Adobe Audition. But really, Audacity works great and it's free, so just get that. You can't beat free when you're just starting out. And it includes your 3 new best friends: Normalize, Noise Removal, and Compressor. Using those 3 will make your audio sound great and clean as long as your space is treated well. Spencer has a lot of really good experience when it comes to room treatment on the cheap.
Hey guys. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying that Audio-Technica has a great little series of videos demonstrating different recording methods for different instruments, including a video on voiceover which covers a lot of the basics of treatment and how their mics work. Keep in mind, however, that the advice they give is for their microphone, so if you're using something else, make sure you take its polarity into consideration when setting up your booth. You can find those either by clicking on the annotations or looking in the description below. Now, there are 2 chief problems that plague most voiceover recordings, and they're related. They are background noise and reverb. For a clean, crisp, and sharp recording, you're going to need to deal with these in one way or another. Now, I'm big on demonstrations, so I'm going to have you do a little favor for me. Stop for a moment and listen to your space. You hear that? That's the sound of your computer, the outside traffic, birds, pets, laundry machines, and everything in between. If you have a good mic, it's going to pick up all of that, and good luck getting it back out. I mean, sure, you can run a noise removal tool like Waves NS1 or the noise removal feature in Audacity, but what you'll find is that the more you have to use said tools, the more hollow and cold your recording is going to sound. This is bad. This is bad because most professional recordings sound warm and thick, and anything that sounds anything otherwise, really you're going to have a hard time finding work. Now, the easiest way to fix your background noise problem is to record in an environment without it. This means that you're going to have to look for a location that's usually very quiet and has decent acoustics, and these can be pretty tricky to find. What is normal for most people is to use something like a walk-in closet, a large thick blanket, or even surprisingly your car, assuming you have one. Yeah, that's right, your car. In fact, your car is probably one of the best locations to record if you can park it somewhere that doesn't get much traffic. The fabric of the interior usually does a good job of absorbing sound, and the shape of the cabin helps trap reflections. It's cumbersome, however, so if you're going to record there, be prepared to be frustrated. Once you find a location with little to no background noise, you're probably going to run into the second problem I mentioned, which is reverb. Take a moment right now and shout at the top of your lungs. Hear that ringing sound? Okay, maybe you shot a little too hard, but you'll notice that when you talk loud enough that there's this sort of tail that follows everything you say. That's reverb, and that's a problem. Reverb is what happens when sound continues to bounce in a closed space before it loses all of its energy, and because of this, it'll blend into your recording and turn it to mud. Granted, there's a time and place for reverb, but it's usually the job of a sound engineer to put that back in. Your job is to give said engineer as squeaky clean a recording as possible and in as raw format as possible. To quote old television, don't touch that dial. Let the audio whiz handle it. That said, if you're having a lot of trouble with reverb, the cheapest thing to do is to find a new recording location. Barring that, it's time to look into some treatment options. Enter Acoustic Foam. First, a warning. Don't go buying foam willy-nilly. You'll spend a ton of money and you'll be very disappointed with the value. This is especially true if you're buying from a retail storefront where everything is sold at markup and the only things they carry are the top-of-the-line brands like Orlex. Don't be fooled. Foam is foam. Some brands might claim to have a product that is better than the rest, but I can guarantee you that you'll get just as much kick out of something straight from a generic factory as you would from some hotshot special products. It's marketing bullshit. Don't buy into it. If you're looking for the bare minimum, the cheapest and probably easiest way to get foam is to using plain old mattress foam like Egg Crate. Granted, it won't work very well, but if you're that hard up for cash, it can be a good starting point. Alright, you know what? I take that back. Don't use Egg Crate. Use this instead. There's a website out there called foamfactory.com, and no, we are not being paid to advertise. They sell acoustic foam by the truckload, as well as any other foam fantasies you might have on the fly. They've got everything you possibly need, and on that note, cheaper than what you'd pay using a top brand. You can either get it in panels or in sheets, and if you're wondering what the price point is, be prepared to pay anywhere from $20 to $100, depending on the type, size, and quantity you order. Yeah, that's right, $20 for acoustic foam. Not $200, not $1,000, $20. plus shipping. 30 bucks. 30 bucks for Acoustic Foam. You can literally buy 6 of these bad boys for the price of one brand name panel set. So you get your foam, you have your location, what do you do with it? My advice, cram it into the corners of your recording space. The corners are where most of the reflections are going to take place, so once you have a little foam there, you'll notice a large reduction in reverb. You'll also want to set up a little foam behind you to catch the bigger wall bounces. If you can afford to coat the whole room with this stuff, by all means go for it, but be prepared to spend anywhere from $200 to $1,000 on foam, depending on the size of the space you need to fill. My philosophy is to only use as much as you need, and if you can find a cheaper alternative, use that instead. If you really want to treat on the cheap though, you could also try building yourself a small enclosure. Take some of that sexy audio foam and slap it inside a cardboard box. Now stick your mic inside said cardboard box. Boom, instant portable booth. It's perfect for the road, and if you use it while pulling a comforter over your head, you'll be able to get a nice clean recording with few problems. Just try not to move once you're under the covers. The mic will pick up the rustle.
And heck, if you want to really be cheap, you can do what I've done, which is to treat my closet with an assortment of hanging clothes and scarves. Yep, the scarves do you right. Recording in a closet with all those hanging clothes will suck most of the stray sound right up. But a lot of the time it isn't enough. So you'll want to look into at least a bit of the treatment foam Spencer recommended, especially for the corners of the room. And there you have it, a budgeted guide to starting your voiceover work. Still looking too expensive? Well, it's going to be an investment no matter what. Like it or not, the equipment we have to use is expensive. But hopefully our advice will save you a few bucks as you turn down the road we crazies travel in the voice acting community, and give you enough change to head back if you decide it isn't such a fun road to travel after all. Thanks for listening to us blather on, and if you liked this video, let us know with that lovely little like button. Also let us know in the comments if there are any other tutorials you'd like us to work on for you. Art, writing, animation, or more voice acting? Anything is fair game. Oh, and one more quick announcement. We've got a new animation coming next week! And if you're a Patreon supporter in the appropriate tier, early access is already available. Super supporters are able to see our animations a week early. If you want to see more videos from the team, how about some other tutorials of ours? Or why not check out some animations we've made? Thanks guys, that's all for now. We'll see you next time.